If you want to see how I made this stuffed goose leg, keep on watching. Okay, to start off, we have to saute some onions off in a pan. So I'm just going to add a little bit of oil and some butter to the pan, and we'll dump the onions in. So once these have cooked down and softened up a little bit, we'll come back and add the mushrooms. Once you've softened up your onions a little bit, because you've cut them up so small, they won't take too long. So now I've also chopped up some mushrooms. I chopped these up a little bit bigger because mushrooms will shrink down, so you don't have to get a super fine chop on that. Anyway, we'll return this to the heat. We'll come back when they're ready. Also, we're going to add a little bit of salt to this. And some bacon bits. We'll get that all mixed in. We'll return this to the heat. Come back when it's ready. Okay, once everything's nicely cooked down like this, you just want to set it aside in a cool place while we get the other ingredients ready. Okay, I got some bread cubes here. They're all, I buy them pre-boiled like this. It saves me cutting up and drying out myself. I bought some stock as well. This is just some poultry stock. So we'll start off with that much liquid. Also, I chopped up some parsley and thyme. We're going to bung that straight in. And then also we'll get some more seasonings in here before we mix it. So the next thing I'm going to add is this pre-made Italian seasoning. You can use whichever seasonings you want pretty much, or if you have your own Italian seasoning. So I'm going to put a big tablespoon of that in. Now there is salt in that Italian seasoning, but we're going to have to add a little more. So I'm going to start with a half a tablespoon of salt. We'll sprinkle that in, and then we'll give this a good mix, and then we'll see where we're at with the seasonings. I had my onions and mushrooms cooling off on the balcony outside. I almost forgot to add them. I'm going to go ahead and bung those in, and then we give it a good mix. I've given it a little mix, and now I'm going to add an egg. So we'll go ahead and bust that in. So before I go ahead and mix in the egg, I'm just going to add a little bit more stock because I'm pretty sure it's going to need it. So we'll go ahead and add about that much, and then we'll get it mixed in. And then we'll check the consistency. Once you get it all nicely mixed in and you're happy with your seasoning, we'll set it aside and get the meat ready. So I've got these goose legs here. I've already got ahead and deboned and moved any of the sinew, any big globs of fat, and I've done my best to keep the skin on and not puncture too many holes. You're just gonna have a look at them, and then we're gonna put the stuffing in, and then we'll roll them up as best we can, and then we'll tie them up with some butcher's twine. So I've got my leg meat laid out now. Now I'm just gonna get the filling, and we're gonna plop it right in the middle. And you want to kind of form it like the bone would have been laying in there. So we want to go ahead and wrap this up and try and in there good. And you essentially want to bring it back so it looks like how it used to look before we took the bone out. Something like that. And then we'll get our butcher's twine, we'll stick it under, and we'll start to tie it up. So it'll be a good idea when you make your knots to make them on top of the actual where the filling goes, because it's going to be looking a little bit ugly there anyway. So I'm going to go ahead. Now, the easiest way I've found to tie the twine is just do these overhand knots. But on the first one, you wrap it around twice. And then when you pull it, or as you pull it closed, when you let go of it, it actually holds the tension in there. Then you can just go ahead after that one and lock it off. So these are going to go into a 150-degree oven until the internal temperature reaches around 75 degrees, and then we'll check the skin. If the skin's nice and crispy, we'll just leave them in there a little bit longer because we're aiming for around 80 degrees. So the leftover stuffing, I've got a little pan here that I've very generously buttered. Now we're just going to get the leftover filling, and we're just going to fill this little pan up with it, and then we'll stick this over here in the oven so it gets nice and crispy on top and cook through. We're going to shove that in the oven with the goose. So I just pulled them out the oven, and I'm happy with the color on the skin. So we're just going to let them chill out here for a little bit, and I'm just going to try this little piece right here. Pretty damn good. After I've already taste testing the other smaller ones there, I realized that I forgot to put salt on the outside. So just going to give it a little dusting, and then I ain't cutting into it. There's only one way to eat a goose leg. So I envisioned the dish how you would eat the goose at the restaurant, but I'm glad I did it this way. It's a hell of a lot more fun, and it's damn tasty.